I got my passport in 2017. I also got Kyla's at the same time. I remember listening to a teaching by sermon by Pastor John Hanna. He is the pastor, senior pastor. I believe that's his title. He's the pastor of New Life Covenant Church in Chicago. And he was teaching, I don't remember the entire subject, but I remember him talking about getting your passport. And he was saying, go get it. And that hit my spirit because immediately I thought, yes, because I'm getting out of here. I had never been out the country. I take that back. I had been on a cruise. My first cruise was in 2020, no, 2003, my last year of college with my boyfriend at the time, his family. I didn't need a passport. I needed my birth certificate. So I have been out the country, but not out of the country with a passport. Okay. But I had touched a different country before on the cruise. So in 2017, I'm like, yes, when I heard Pastor Hannah exhort that and admonish his congregation and those listening online, me, to do it, I'm like, yes, absolutely. And I had friends around me that were traveling overseas, that were traveling to other countries and other continents. And I'm like, I want to do that too. And I have my girl Kyla, my daughter. I want her to be able to explore. We had both been on a plane before. I remember being so excited to take her on a plane. And you know what? Let me interrupt this flow right here because, wait, is that right? Let me think. Because Kyla was able to go out the country too on her first cruise. And I'm trying to remember if I got her passport before then or right after then. Nevertheless, I knew I wanted Kyla to experience being on an airplane, to going somewhere different, somewhere she had never been before, which she traveled in the States to go see her grandparents, with us to go see other family members. Thanksgiving, we always travel. I wanted her to have a passport. I wanted her to have that experience of crossing the sea. When I got my passport, I remember the gentleman at the post office saying, do you need this expedited? Where are you going? And I said, well, I don't know where I'm going. And no, I don't have it expedited because when I got our passports, I didn't have a trip plan. I just know I heard God through Pastor Hannah, and I had the desire, and I knew, okay, if you desire to go to Africa, if you desire for Kyla to see Europe and for you all to experience Asia and South America, well, then you need a passport to do that. So that is the first step for you. And so when I heard Pastor Hannah say that, I'm like, okay, yeah, those were my marching orders. So talking to the gentleman at the post office, I was like, no, I don't need to expedite it. I don't know where I'm going, but I'm getting it because we're going somewhere. And you know what is so powerful is that my passport was expedited. I know it was supposed to take much longer because I read it on the application. It was supposed to take much longer than it did, but it came quick. And so I remember, checking the mailbox, and I remember thinking, what is this in the envelope? Well, it was my birth certificate because I had to send that, both of our birth certificates, I had to send that in, and our passports. And I'm like, okay, God, where are we going? Where are we going? So, yes, we are talking about the courage to go, the courage to see, and the importance of preparation, and that you can prepare even though you don't have all of the details. You have the dream. So let's talk about the steps that you can take to fulfill, for that dream to be fulfilled. Welcome to Her Renewed Mind. I didn't know the intro was going to be that long, but I am your host, Dr. Candice, and I'm so glad you are here with me. And I want to shout out my international listeners and viewers. It is so beautiful to check the analytics on. I use Podbean as my distribution vehicle to get the podcast out all across the world. And I just checked the analytics this week that I'm recording. And I have people listening from the UK, people listening from Asia, from Africa. Oh my goodness, I'm going to see you soon. I'm going to see you soon. We're going to have a Her Renewed Mind live podcasts from these countries where my Her Renew Mind community is listening. So thank you so much for listening. It's not by accident that you're here. God bless you and your family, my dear sis. Okay, let's get into it. And I am just smiling so big if you're watching on YouTube because I am recording this on Friday, June 12th, and I'm getting my passport stamped. I am getting my passport stamped today. I've mentioned this on the podcast that Kyla has had the amazing opportunity to study in London through her school, the University of Kentucky, a theater and dance immersion experience, Light Up London. So Kyla and her peers have been lighting up London, and it's been such a joy. And I was sharing it with friends as we were preparing for the trip a couple months ago. And one of my friends said, "So you going?" And I'm like, "What am I?" Like, my spirit start to stir. Get around people that will ask you questions that will catapult you forward into places and spaces that you didn't even think, that weren't even on your radar, right? The desire was there for me to travel, but honestly, I was like, let's just get Kyla to London. That was my focus. I didn't think about me going. But now, but now, by the time you listen to this, we'll be back. But now I am headed to London. I leave today at 4:51. I'll touch down in London at 8 a.m. London time. They are 5 hours ahead of where I am, Louisville, Kentucky. And I get to meet my daughter in London. God is so, so good. I'm so grateful. And thank you. Thank you for sowing into Kyla. Thank you for praying. Thank you for believing with us. It's happening. It has happened and it's happening. ING. I remember seeing a quote by Pearl Cleage, and I may butcher it, but let me just say what I remember. And I remember posting on Facebook when Kyla flew for the first time. We actually flew to the DMV area to visit my aunt and my cousin and our cousins. Kyla's great aunt, um, my aunt Reese, who is dancing with Jesus. She's in the cloud of witnesses, like, Candice, you're going to London. Oh, that reminds me, I need to let my cousin know that I'm about to leave. But anyway, thank you, God. So the quote was from Pearl Cleage: "I'm concerned with giving my daughter the ability to observe." I said, well, me too. Me too. So hearing that quote, and I know I was already doing it, but just stirred even more in me to look for those and keep my eyes open for those opportunities that I can encourage. I was gonna say push, but encourage Kyla to see, to observe. And so I remember speaking over her, study abroad, study abroad, study abroad. And she was so blessed because even at her private independent school, that she started going to in third grade, they had opportunities starting in middle school and upper school for students to study abroad. And I asked Kyla if she wanted to go. And I remember there was a Spain trip and she was like, yeah. But then she changed her mind, which was fine because I knew that in college she was going to have plenty of opportunities to join a study abroad program. And I remember her telling me about this trip. She's like, Mom, but the money, I said, don't worry about it. Do you want to go? She's like, I don't know. And she did. And she has had the time of her life, not without challenges. Not without challenges. I'm going to remember to link her. She's done a vlog, and remember to link her vlog in the show notes, in the description here, so you all can see her adventures in London. And please comment. Please watch, please comment, subscribe, all the things, like, comment, subscribe. And I'm just right now just shaking my head in awe because she has experienced London. She has lit up London, not without challenges, but I've witnessed her grow 4,000 miles away from me, but I've witnessed her grow already in these last few weeks. And now I get to join her and I get to see and observe through her eyes too, because she's been there. I said, Kyla, you're going to be my tour guide. You're going to show me how to take the tube. We're going to go to the Borough Market. We're going to go to see a show. God is so good. So good. So I want to share with you just three lessons from the courage to go and see and explore, like physically going to a new environment, whether that is you getting your passport, right? And going to countries where you can get your passport stamped. Maybe it's traveling. I was with some folks yesterday who talked about, I want to travel all 50 states. And I'm like, yes, go do it. And one said, I want to get an RV. And I'm like, do that. And I immediately thought about my good sister friend Gerica, who rented an RV and traveled not all 50 states, but she traveled in an RV. And I'm thinking, yes, do it. Do it. Like, let's go. I love that so much. Now, I really don't have the desire to travel all 50. There's some states I do want to go to that I haven't been to, but I'm definitely about getting to all the inhabitable continents. Okay? All of the inhabitable continents. That is my goal, and I'm saying it out loud. So, number one, dreams need room to grow, right? So, giving Kyla the ability to observe, and what that meant for me was getting her on a plane and her experiencing these other countries through a study abroad program, or us just going together, right? Like that needed room to grow. And the first step of doing that was getting the passport. And so that dream started to grow in my heart. We would talk about it. I would ask her, well, where do you want to go? And then she knew of friends that were going to other countries. And so it was close to her. So that was a part of the dream growing. Dreams need room to grow. Number two, being in new environments expands your vision. And so it's so interesting. I talked to Kyla, we were using the WhatsApp, and she talked about, I think I asked her, I was like, would you live in London? She was like, I don't know. But I think she did say she would come back. Right. And she desires to live in New York. And London is a huge city. And so there are some similarities to New York with it being a huge city, and her being in the West End, which is their theater district, and her experiencing New York, I believe twice. She's been in New York twice. We've been to New York twice. I'm saying it out loud to confirm with myself. Yes, we've been to New York twice. Is that right? Yeah, we've been to New I've been more than that, but Kyla and I together have been twice. So she's been twice. And so she's making these comparisons like, okay, if I can do London, right, then I can do New York. And so her vision is expanding, right? Okay, if I can do a city in another country, that means I can do a city in this country, I can do a city in another country, right? I can go somewhere that I've never been before. So new environments expand your vision. And what has been so powerful, even for me, in that, I'm thinking about even being in new environments here stateside, right? Like I am in a new environment of entrepreneurship. And so newer environment of entrepreneurship, and meeting people who have been doing business for years or are just starting. And so that's even expanded my vision about what I can do. I had a beautiful conversation with my mentee last night, and as she was sharing her vision and things that she's working on for her business, I was getting downloads of next steps that I need to take for my business and what I want to do. And actually something that I had kind of put on the back burner has moved to the forefront of my mind. I'm like, okay, here's the next goal, right? So being in new environments, being around people that are doing something new to you, or doing something different, right? Like that expands your vision. And then lastly, explore, ex- exploration. Exploration creates evidence, and really related to what I just shared, and thinking about Kyla being in London, like she's gathering evidence, like I can do this, right? I've experienced this. And so I now have this evidence that I can present to myself or present to others. Like I've done this before, so I can do it again. It may not be in the same way, but it relates to the something new, right? The challenge that may be before me. Exploration creates evidence. So good. I love to explore in nature. I love going to new parks And so, for example, here in Louisville, Kentucky, we have a beautiful park system. I mean, we have over 100 parks. And so there are the Parkland parks, and they're so beautiful. They're on like I'll say the outer perimeter of our county. And I remember seeing a picture of the Brown Foreman silo, which is so beautiful on their steps. And you could go up the silo and look out across the horizon. And I do that from time to time because physically I'm seeing a new perspective, right? And so when I was exploring the website, I was like, okay, I got to go see it for myself. I'd never been there before. But once I got there, my insides were so giddy, and I had evidence that there is this landmark that will take me to a higher height. That for me, that is an act, a prophetic act of going up higher and seeing a new perspective. And things look so different from a higher perspective. That was for free. And you can take that whatever direction Holy Spirit is stirring inside you, sis, to take that. So I have evidence. I have evidence through my exploration that when I'm feeling sad or I just need to get out from these four walls, and you all already know, if you've been rocking with me, nature takes me there. Nature widens my eyes. Nature causes my insides to be at rest and at peace, and this joy wells up on the inside of me. And I'm reminded that look at this great creation. Look at God's creation. I'm right where I'm supposed to be. Right where I'm supposed to be. Same thing happens when I'm on a plane. So I'm gonna be, I got window seats. I picked my seat. I have window seats because I need to see and observe and get my content and get my footage, right? So I look forward to vlogging as well. So stay tuned for my London vlog. Exploration creates evidence. So, sis, where might God be inviting you to explore something new so you can gather your evidence? Again, and maybe it is getting your passport. I have a sis close to me, and both of us have talked about traveling the world, teaching, preaching, encouraging, equipping. And I said, do you have your passport? And she said, no. I said, girl, go get that application. And she did. And then I asked her, where do you want to go? Now, she hasn't shared with me where she wants to go yet. So that reminds me, I'm going to send her a text message and ask her, where does she want to go? What's her first stamp? What country does she want to be her first stamp? Or maybe for you, it's having that conversation. It's starting that side gig. It's applying for that promotion. It's opening up a Bible for the first time. It's opening up your phone and turning the camera on and sharing your story and posting it so that others can be encouraged by your story, your testimony. Where might God be inviting you to explore something new? The passport wasn't the trip, right? I took a trip to go get it, right? I took a trip to the post office to go get it. I took a trip to Walgreens to get Kyla and I's picture made. I'm only laughing because she's like, look at my picture. But she's already, she already, because of the age she was, her passport expired, I think, after 5 years. So she already has her new passport. Mine expires in 2027. So I'll be working on that, getting that renewed this year because I plan to get my passport stamped again in 2027. I just had the thought come that Kyla and I are going to get out of the country, or go to another country, I should say. We're going to go visit another country every year. Every year, whether we're together, whether it's separate, we are going to touch down in a country, a different country than where we reside, countries outside of the clearly there's countries outside the United States. You all know what I'm trying to say. Every single year, I'm going to have a new passport stamp every year. Thank you, God. Right? The passport wasn't the trip. Getting it wasn't the trip, but it stirred my faith. It said, we're going somewhere. It stirred my insides. I have a map right here on my right. The map isn't the trip, but it stirred my faith because I'm going somewhere. And I've already put asterisks by the places that I've been already. And I get to put an asterisk on London. I've put pink dots where you are listening, and you're listening from all over the world. And I thank you for that. So this is the reason I created the Courage to Go workshop, from stuck to strategic, because I believe it's time for us to identify the next step and lead with clarity, a plan that we can put in place. Create your POA, your plan of action. I want you to join me in the Courage to Go from Stuck to Strategic workshop. It's taking place, it's going up Tuesday, July 7th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 5:30 p.m. Central Time, and then all the other time zones across the world. You are welcome to join. It will be recorded if you're not able to join us live. And so come on in and get the clarity you need in a beautiful community, right? It may be for you getting in a new community, and those ideas and dreams being sparked on the inside of you, and leaving with your next step, with more clarity and with your concrete next step. And we're also going to do a follow-up, because a follow-up creates accountability. We're going to meet 30 days from that date. So on August 6th or 7th, because August 7th is on a Friday. So we'll probably do August 6th. And I'm going to give the floor to you for you to share the steps that you've taken towards what you've identified within our Courage to Go workshop session class. It's going to be a major experience. What I know about Holy Spirit is going to be beyond what we even expect. So don't wait. Go ahead and register right now. Their founding rate is $79 until June 26th. And so go to the website, visionspeakconsulting.com, and the flyer, the link is right there on the homepage, or you can go directly to the show notes, the description of this podcast episode, and click on that link to join us. Share it with a friend. Share it. Invite another friend to come on and get this good experience. And again, leave with the clarity that you need to head into the latter part of this year. What in the world? So July makes the half point. So let's allow the latter to be greater. And it is. The latter is greater. Now, 2026 has been amazing so far. So far, so good. It gets gooder. Every round goes higher and higher. Faith to faith, glory to glory. Okay. So I look forward to seeing your registration come through. Something which is so cool. You will get the Take the Next Step e-workbook along with your registration, and again the recording as well, and some other goodies that I'll tell you about in the workshop. Again, the founding rate deadline is going to be, or is, June 26th at $79. After that, it does increase to $97. So get in on this workshop. I love you. Go explore. Go explore. And again, where might God be inviting you to explore something new? I love you. And until next time, peace. Before I leave, if you want to sow into Her Renewed Mind Vision Speak Consulting, you can do that. I've put the link in the show notes. It costs money for this podcast. I'm using StreamYard, which is so cool. And don't you like these graphics? Oh my gosh, there's more to come, because I want to do an intro video. And then the Podbean platform that I use to get this out to the world has a cost. And so your seed will help us continue to get the encouragement out. We'll continue to get Her Renewed Mind out. I have big dreams about having my own studio and inviting guests in and sitting in the comfy chair, legs crossed, with the cue cards, with the brand logo on the front, Her Renewed Mind, and bringing and being the light, and helping all of us to step into the renewed mind that is ours. So won't you sow today? I would so appreciate it. If you want to sow into Kyla for a study abroad trip, we do have some additional expenses that came up. I'd appreciate your gift as well. And so I'll put her information in the show notes too. You're awesome. You're loved. And until next time, peace.